Good morning, children. Class 8, Political Science, Chapter 1st. The Indian Constitution Key Features. By the beginning of the 18th century, the Indian national movement had been active in the struggle for independence for British rule for several decades. During the freedom struggles, the nationalists had devoted a great deal of time to imagining and planning what a free India would be like. Under the British, they had been forced to obey rules that they had very little role in making. The long experience of authoritarian rules under the colonizer state convinced Indians that free India should be a democracy in which everyone should be treated equally and be allowed to participate in government. What remained to be done then was to work out the ways in which a democratic government would be set up in India and the rules that would determine its functioning. This was done not by one person but by a group of around 300 people 300 peoples who became members of Constitutional Assembly in 1946. 1946 में जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन असेंबली क्रिएट की गई उसमें लमसम जो है कितने मेंबर्स थे 300 मेंबर्स एंड हु मीट periodically for the next 3 years to write Indian Constitution. These members of the Constitutional Assembly had a huge task before them. The country was made up of several different communities who spoke different languages, belonged to different religions, and had distinct cultures. Also, when the Constitution was being written, India was going through considerable turmoil. The partitions of the country into India and Pakistan was imminent. Some of the previously states remained undecided about their futures, and the social economic conditions of the vast mass of peoples appeared dismal. All of these issues play on the minds of the members of the Constitutional Assembly as they drafted the Constitution. कई तरीके की उनको प्रॉब्लम्स इस तरीके की फेस हो रही थी. दे रोज टू द ओकेशन एंड गिव दिस कंट्री ए विजनरी डॉक्यूमेंट्स दैट रिफ्लेक्ट ए रेस्पेक्ट फॉर मेंटेनिंग डाइवर्सिटीज. और वो इस तरीके के डॉक्यूमेंट्स बनाना चाहते थे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशंस को कि जिससे हमारी जो डाइवर्सिटी है वो रिफ्लेक्ट हो और उसका रेस्पेक्ट भी हो, वाइल प्रिजर्विंग नेशनल यूनिटी, और वो नेशनल यूनिटी को भी रिफ्लेक्ट करे. द फाइनल डॉक्यूमेंट्स ऑल्सो रिफ्लेक्ट्स देयर कंसर्न फॉर eradicating poverty through social economic reforms as well as emphasizing the crucial role the people can play in choosing their representative. और जो सोशल इकोनॉमिक प्रॉब्लम्स हैं वो थोड़ी सी सॉर्ट आउट हो जाए उससे, और रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स को सेलेक्ट करने का प्रोसीजर जो है वो इजी हो जाए. लिस्टेड बिलो आर द की फीचर्स ऑफ द इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. वाइल रीडिंग दिस, keep in mind the above mentioned concern of diversity, unity, social economic reforms and representations that the author of these documents were grappling with. Try and understand the way in which they tried to balance this concern with their commitment to transforming independent India into a strong democratic society. The first feature is a federalism. This refers to the existence of more than one level of government in the country. फेडरलिज्म मीन्स क्या होता है, जहाँ पे लेवल जो होती है गवर्नमेंट की वो एक से ज़्यादा हो. इन इंडिया वी हैव गवर्नमेंट एट द स्टेट लेवल एंड द सेंटर. दो आपने इसमें लेवल्स देख रखे हैं, स्टेट लेवल पर गवर्नमेंट को देख रखा है और सेंट्रल लेवल पर देखा है. एंड थर्ड इज़ पंचायती राज इज़ द थर्ड टीयर ऑफ गवर्नमेंट. थर्ड कौन सी होगी आपकी, पंचायती राज, थर्ड टीयर ऑफ गवर्नमेंट. एंड यू हैड रीड अबाउट दिस इन योर क्लास 6 बुक. We look at the functioning of the state government in your class 7 book, and this year we will read more about the central government. The vast number of communities in India meant that a system of government need to be devised that did not involve only personnel sitting in the capital city of New Delhi and making decision for everyone. Instead, It was important to have another level of government in the state so that decisions could be made for that particular area. एक्चुअली क्या है, दिल्ली की बात करें हम, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट दिल्ली रहती है और स्टेट गवर्नमेंट भी जो है अपनी कैपिटल में रहेगी। तो विलेजेस से जो उनका डिस्टेंस होता है, उस डिस्टेंस को कम करने के लिए एक लोकल गवर्नमेंट की को बनाया गया, दैट इज़ कॉल्ड द पंचायती राज। Important to have another level of government in the state so that decisions could be made for that particular area. While each state in India enjoy autonomy in exercising power on certain issues, जो वहाँ के लोकल इश्यूज़ हैं उनको दूर किया जा सके, उनकी प्रॉब्लम्स को सॉर्ट आउट किया जा सके. Subject of national concern required that all of these states follow the laws of the central government. The constitution contains list that details the issues that each tier of government can make laws on. In addition, the constitution also specifies where each tiers of government can get the money from for the work that is done. Under federalism, the state are not merely agent of the federal government but draw their authority from the constitution as well. यहाँ सभी जो हैं कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के बायलॉज को फॉलो करते हैं और रूल्स रेगुलेशंस बना सकते हैं अपने. ऑल पर्सन इन इंडिया आर गॉन बाय द लॉज एंड पॉलिसीज मेड बाय द ईच ऑफ दिस लेवल ऑफ गवर्नमेंट. एंड हियर इट इज़ अ पिक्चर दैट इज़ कॉल्ड बाबा साहब अम्बेडकर. बाबा साहब डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर इज़ नॉन एज द फादर ऑफ इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. इन्हें क्या बोला जाता है? फादर ऑफ इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर बिलीव दैट दिस पार्टिसिपेशन इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन असेंबली हेल्प द शेड्यूल कास्ट. उन्होंने ये कहा कि शेड्यूल कास्ट को भी इसमें कुछ प्रोविजंस रखे जाने चाहिए ताकि उनकी जो इकोनॉमिक और कल्चर जो बैकग्राउंड है वो थोड़ा सा अपलिफ्ट किया जा सके. गेट सम सेफ गार्ड इन द ड्राफ्ट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, इसीलिए इसमें सेफ गार्ड बनाए गए. बट ही ऑल्सो स्टार्ट दैट allow the laws might exist, scheduled castes still had reason to fear because the administration of this law were in the hands of caste Hindu officers. वो ये मानते थे कि जो बायलॉज हैं ये एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन जो हैं वो कुछ हिंदूस ऑफिसर्स के हाथ में होता है, तो कहीं ना कहीं जो कास्ट वाली प्रॉब्लम्स हैं उसकी वजह से वो बैकफुट पे रहते हैं. ही देयरफॉर urged शेड्यूल कास्ट टू जॉइन द गवर्नमेंट एज वेल एज द सिविल सर्विसेज. और ये मानते थे और कहते थे लोगों को कि शेड्यूल कास्ट को जो है गवर्नमेंट को ज्वाइन करना चाहिए और सिविल सर्विसेज जो हैं उसको फाइट करना चाहिए. एंड सेकेंड इज अ पार्लियामेंट्री फॉर्म्स ऑफ गवर्नमेंट. पार्लियामेंट्री फॉर्म्स ऑफ गवर्नमेंट, द डिफरेंट tiers of government that you just read about consist of representatives who are elected by the peoples. Your class 7th book began with the story of Kanta who was standing in the line to vote during an elections. And here is a voting line, that is a poll. Constitution of India guarantee universal adult सफरेज. यूनिवर्सल एडल्ट सफरेज मीन्स क्या होता है? वोट करना. यूनिवर्सल एडल्ट सफरेज फॉर ऑल सिटीजन्स. व्हेन दे आर मेकिंग द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन द नंबर ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन असेंबली फेल्ट दैट द फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल हैड प्रिपेयर्ड द मासेस फॉर यूनिवर्सल एडल्ट सफरेज and that this would help encourage a democratic mindset and break the cultures of traditional caste, class and gender heritages. ये मानते थे कि इस तरीके से वोटिंग करने से या वोटिंग की पावर देने से जो है कास्टों के बीच में जो गैप है वो धीरे धीरे कम हो जाएगा. This means that the people of India have a direct role in electing their representative. Also, every citizen of the country, irrespective to his her social background, can also contest in elections. These representatives are accountable to the people. You will read more about why representative is crucial to democratic functions in Unit 2nd of this book. And third key feature is separations of power. According to the constitution, there are three organs of government. Three organs of government. These are the legislature. First is the legislature. The second is a executive, and the third is judiciary. The three is a organs of government. First is a legislature, second is executive, and third is judiciary. The legislature refers to our elected representative. ये किसको, हम जो इलेक्टेड रिप्रेजेंटेटिव बनाते हैं उससे रिलेटेड है. द एग्जीक्यूटिव क्या करती है, उसको एग्जीक्यूट करती है. द एग्जीक्यूटिव इज़ ए स्मॉलर ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल्स हु आर रेस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर इम्प्लीमेंटिंग लॉ एंड रनिंग द गवर्नमेंट. And third is judiciary. The judiciary, of which you will read more in unit 3rd of this book, refers to the system of court in this country. ये जो judiciary means क्या होता है, system of court in this country. In order to prevent the misuse of power by any one branch of government, the constitution asks that each of these organs should exercise different powers. Through this, each organs act as a check on the other organ of the government, and this ensure the balance of power between all three. और हमारा जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है वो बैलेंस बना के रखता है. यहाँ पे जो है बार बार एक वर्ड्स का यूज़ किया गया है, स्टेट. तो स्टेट का मीन्स क्या लिया गया है यहाँ पर, वो देखते हैं हम. द वर्ड स्टेट इज़ ऑफ using in this chapter. This does not refers to state government. इसका मतलब state government से नहीं है. Rather, when we use state, we are trying to distinguish it from government. इसका means जो है वो government से लिया गया है. Government is responsible for administrating and enforcing laws. The government can change with elections. The state, on the other hand, refers to a political institution that represent a sovereign people who occupy a definite territory. We can thus speak the Indian state, the Nepal state, etc. The Indian state had a democratic form of government. हमारे यहाँ पे कौन सी गवर्नमेंट है, डेमोक्रेटिक गवर्नमेंट है. द गवर्नमेंट फॉर एग्जीक्यूटिव इन वन पार्ट ऑफ द स्टेट. गवर्नमेंट भी जो है एक पार्ट है एग्जीक्यूटिव का. द स्टेट रेफर्स टू more than just the government and cannot be used interchangeably with it. And here it is a picture. Member of the Constitutional Assembly fear that the executive might become too strong and ignores its responsibility to the legislature. The Assembly therefore included a number of provisions in the Constitution to limit and control the action taken by the executive branch of government as whole. And next key feature is a fundamental rights. The next key feature is a fundamental right. The section of fundamental rights has often been refers to as the conscience of the Indian Constitution. Conscience मतलब आत्मा बोला जाता है. ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की आत्मा है, फंडामेंटल राइट्स. कॉलोनाइज रूल्स हैड क्रिएटेड अ सर्टन सस्पिशियस ऑफ द स्टेट इन द माइंड्स ऑफ नेशनलिस्ट एंड दे वांटेड टू एंश्योर दैट ए सेट ऑफ रिटर्न राइट्स वुड गार्ड अगेंस्ट द मिसयूज ऑफ स्टेट पावर इंडिपेंडेंट इंडिया. फंडामेंटल राइट्स देयरफॉर प्रोटेक्ट सिटीजन्स अगेंस्ट द आर्बिट्ररी एंड एब्सोल्यूट एक्सरसाइज ऑफ पावर बाय द स्टेट. एक तरीके से ये पावर देते हैं सिटीजन को. सिटीजन जो हैं हमारे यहाँ के, उनको पावर्स देते हैं. द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन दस गारंटी द राइट्स ऑफ इंडिविजुअल अगेंस्ट द स्टेट एज वेल एज अगेंस्ट अदर इंडिविजुअल्स. मोरओवर द वेरियस माइनॉरिटी कमिटी कौन सी होती है, जो छोटी छोटी कमिटीज़ होती है. ऑल्सो एक्सप्रेस द नीड फॉर द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन टू इंक्लूड राइट्स दैट वुड प्रोटेक्ट देयर ग्रुप. उनको प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए इसमें कुछ राइट्स दिए गए. द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशंस देयरफॉर ऑल्सो गारंटी द राइट्स ऑफ माइनॉरिटी अगेंस्ट द मेजॉरिटी. मेजॉरिटी मतलब जो लोग ज़्यादा हैं. एज डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर हैड सेड about these fundamental rights, their object is twofold. The first object is that every citizen must be in a position to claim those rights. कोई भी जो citizen है वो इन rights के लिए objection कर सकता है, मांग सकता है. And secondly, these rights must be binding upon every authority that has got the power to make laws. In addition to fundamental rights, the Constitution also has a section called derivatives principles of state policy. Underline this, डायरेक्टिव्स प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ स्टेट पॉलिसीज़ के अंदर जो है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के अंदर ये फंडामेंटल राइट दिए गए हैं. दिस सेक्शंस वर डिजाइन बाय द मेंबर्स ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन असेंबली टू इंश्योर ग्रेटर सोशल एंड इकोनॉमिक रिफॉर्म्स एंड टू सर्व एज ए गाइड to the independent India state to institute laws and policies that help reduce the poverty of the masses. And here it is the fundamental rights. The fundamental rights in the Indian Constitution includes: first is the right to equality. All persons are equal before the law. This means that all persons should be equally protected by the law of the country. It also states that no citizens can be discriminated against on the basis of their religious, caste and sex. Every person has access to all public places, including playgrounds, hotels, shops, etc. The state cannot discriminate against anyone in matter of employment, but these are exceptions to this that you will read about later in this book. The practice of untouchability has also been abolished. इसे भी बैन कर दिया गया है. Second is right to freedom. This includes the right to freedom to speech and express, the right to form associations, the right to move freely or reside in any part of the country, and the right to practice any profession, occupations or businesses. And third is the right against exploitations. The Constitution prohibits human trafficking, forced labors, and employment of children under 14 years of age. And fourth is the right to freedom of religion. Religion freedom is provided to all citizens. Every person has the right to practice, profess, and propagate the religion of their choice. And fifth is a culture and educational rights. The Constitution states that all minorities, religious or linguistic, can set up their own educational institute in order to preserve and develop their own culture. And sixth is a right to constitutional remedies. This allows citizens to move the court if they believe that any of their fundamental rights has been violated by the state. And next is a fifth, secularism. A secular state is one in which the state does not officially promote any one religion as the state religion. ऑफिशियली जो हैं किसी भी रिलीजियस को जो है ऑफिशियली प्रमोट नहीं किया जाता, सभी रिलीजियस को इक्वल माना जाता है. दैट इज़ कॉल्ड सेकुलरिज्म. उसको सेकुलरिज्म बोलते हैं हम. वी विल रीड मोर अबाउट दिस इन द फॉलोइंग चैप्टर्स. You now understand the way in which a country's history often determines the kind of the constitution that a country adopts for itself. The constitution plays a crucial role in laying out the ideas that we would like all citizens of the countries to adhere to, including the representative that we elect to rule us. Just like in the game of football, a change of constitutive rules with effect the game. Indian Constitution has been amended over the years to reflect new concern of the policy. Often a major change in the Constitution means a change in the fundamental nature of the country. We see this in the case of Nepal and how it needed to adopt a new constitution after it becomes a democracy. The different features of the Indian Constitution outlined above involves complicated ideas that are often not easy to grasp. Does not worry too much about this for the moment. In the rest of the book, as well as in the higher classes, you will read more about these different features of the Indian Constitution and understand more. Subsequently, what they means. Illustrated each of 11 fundamental duties with drawing, pictures, poems, songs, and discuss them in the classroom. Here it is a picture. The above photos shows various members of the Constitutional Assembly signing a copy of the Constitution at its final session of 24th January 1950. The first photo from top shows Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru signing. The second photo is of Dr. Rajendra Prasad, President of the Constitutional Assembly. The last photo shows the following person from right to left: Shri Jai Ramdas Daulatram, Minister for Food and Agriculture; Rajkumar Amrit Kaur, Health Minister; Dr. John Mathi, Finance Minister; Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Deputy Prime Minister; and behind him, Shri Jagjeevan Ram, Labour Minister.